Among other things this morning, I have had a conversation with someone from the district council and also with the man that was in charge of the workers that came the other day and took away some of the silt slip material. I'm hoping that those two conversations and also subsequent bit of work that I've done online will mean that sometime in the next week or three someone will actually come and take all that material away. So they've been to have a look, they know what's involved, so there's not really any impediment other than just manpower on their part to getting that bit of work done, which would be great. Still waiting to hear back from insurers about next steps as far as retaining walls and things are concerned, but I'm just carrying on with other things in the meantime. The other thing, those gloves that I got the other day that I was quite pleased with have proved to not be particularly robust. Both of them have split on the pinky. I think it was moving all the concrete that did it. They didn't seem to like that. Not sure where to from here as far as gloves are concerned, but yeah, these ones haven't really held up particularly well at all. Ho hum. First world problem, I realise, but I do need to use something. Down here there was well, there still is a raised bed, so it's got bricks on this side and it had timber around these two sides and lots of white limestone chip. So I want to remove that limestone chip and put that in a bag, otherwise it's just going to go everywhere and be a pain. And the wood that was retaining that was kind of retaining it. That's it there, gone pretty rotten anyway. That will be biffed eventually, and then I need to work my way up through here and give this all a severe haircut. Some of these I will, like this one here, I will take out altogether and poison it off at ground level because they're just weeds that have got away really. So I will carry on with that, and it's completely clouded over this afternoon, which is actually quite nice for doing this kind of thing. So I'll get after it. This jungle that I'm clearing is somewhat of a similar situation to that down the drive, of the right plant in the wrong place scenario. The jasmine creeper that has taken over here and is also now all up through this hedge smells lovely when it flowers, can be a little overpowering, but other than that it's a pest. There are a number of other invasive creepers in here as well, and the agapanthus plants have also taken a foothold. The other small tree that is in here that's a bit of an invasive thing as well is known as cotoneaster. They produce thousands of small bright red and orange berries that look delightful in someone else's place because the birds swallow them and then deposit them far and wide, complete with fertilizer. Like all of these plants, once they are established, they are really difficult to eradicate. I've made a start, it's probably the best way to put it. By no means am I going to be able to eradicate this creeper because it is everywhere. It's jasmine, and it's all up in the hedge and everywhere and all through here. But the first post of the fence will be where this post is. That's the corner boundary, if you like. It's where the boundary line changes and where we go from this property to the one that's behind the hedge. So I will disconnect these rails off the post that's there and pull them over towards this other post just as a temporary fix, and then we can bore a hole in the ground there for the new post. You may ask, why don't I just leave that one there? I could, but I really want something a bit more nuggety than that, and yeah, that's the main reason. As you can see, this fence has got a bit of a bow in it as well. I think I mentioned when I was trimming the hedge that it's a bit of a pain because of the netting that's in here. So what happened was, as I explained earlier in the other video, that the people that owned the house had some fairly aggressive pit bull terriers of some sort, and so they put all of this, what is variously called hurricane netting or pig netting. So you'll see, you might be able to see, as it goes up, the gaps get bigger between each strand, and the reason is that pigs will go through any kind of wire netting other than this type of thing, or chain link obviously, and the reason you want the smaller ones at the bottom is because that keeps the piglets in, and then as it gets taller it doesn't need to be so close together. So anyway, they put this in at 6 foot high, which was a bit of an overkill, and then when the next people bought the place, they didn't take the netting down before planting the hedge, which, you know, just lazy man's way's the long way really, but it just creates an issue for somebody else in this instance. And this white post here, that's the original boundary that used to run across the front of our place. So you can see it runs basically just straight across there, and so when we bought this piece of land, all of this bit from the house up the top, that's when that got cut and I put this fence in. I suspect that these pieces of wood here were put in this gap maybe when the people with the terriers were in here, or it may have been when the people that used to own this place, they got Staffordshire bull terriers, and they may have put that bit in there to bridge that gap before the hedge went in, but I really don't know, and it doesn't matter. But I've pulled that out because it serves no purpose anymore, and it was in my way. So I realise this has left a bit of an unsightly mess here, but there's not much I can do about that. And I'm hoping to have our fence up kind of at this level, so we won't see most of it, and nobody else will either because of what's beyond it. So I will take this last lot of that down to the trailer, and then I can start on the white stone chip. But alrighty, see you later. Here we are at close of play for another day, and I have finished clearing all the way up there, and as you can see I have also marked the ground in that plane where the posts are going to go. I haven't done it in this plane at this point, but that's no real reason, I just haven't. So we've now got a clear shot all the way up there. I still have not sorted out all this white chip. That will be the next job, really. And I need to decide what I'm going to do with posts here, because this bit between, where are we, between there and about there is not quite level but close, and then it goes uphill quite rapidly. So I may actually move this post that way a bit and bring that one there down a wee bit, and just have a longer bit between this post and the one at the top. It's not going to matter that much, and the posts are not going to be visible from our side, I don't think, particularly, so don't really mind. And it'll still be plenty strong enough, so that's not an issue. Alright, that's it for today. Time to go and do other things. Okay, see ya. Bye. Good morning. It's another day, another beautiful day, absolute stunner. Look at that for a blue sky. Hopefully the camera reflects how bright and beautiful it is. Today is the day for finishing off preparation for the post hole boring man to come in with his dingo. I have started already down here on the posts. So I know last time I said I was waiting for my reciprocating saw to come back, which it has, but then I just attacked it with my trusty draining spade, and so I've chopped that one out with the spade, and that basically came from this side that way, so there'll be more of it that way, which I may well need the saw for, but we'll see how we go. I'll get after it and we'll see what happens. Coming back to eradication of weeds briefly, or more correctly the word eradicate, I don't believe I was previously familiar with the word eradicate. I discovered that while writing this narration. Most of the two words are spelt the same, except at the beginning. Eradicate has ER at the beginning, whereas eradicate has IRR at the beginning instead of ER. The definition of eradicate is to remove completely, usually something considered bad, undesirable, you know, those kind of things, like weeds. Eradicate means to root deeply or firmly establish. It makes sense, but I'd never seen it before, I don't think. A comparison would be to be responsible or to be irresponsible. Right now I'm trying to eradicate these tree roots so that I can remove this post, and it is proving almost as difficult as trying to eradicate those vines. think that you can see that this post here is completely entrapped by this maze of tree roots all the way around. The reason that I switched from the reciprocating saw to the chainsaw is that no saw likes soil. It just takes the edge off the saw really quickly, and so although I put that new blade in, it wasn't long before it wasn't really cutting. Whereas with the chainsaw it does the same thing, but then I can just easily resharpen the chainsaw chain, whereas that's not really something you can do with reciprocating saw blades. So I will go and sharpen the chainsaw and come back for the next installment. I don't mind admitting that that was a bit more of a struggle than I anticipated. However, it is done, and I have a pile of tree roots up here now to get rid of. Good to have it done though, and it's now 11:45, so I will go and have some lunch shortly, and I will need to resharpen the chainsaw. You probably noticed actually that when I first put the blade in the reciprocating saw, not sure whether that was video or time lapse, it might not have been obvious, but it just cut through the roots like butter. But once the edge had gone off it with the cutting the soil as well, it wasn't really cutting much at all. And already the chainsaw, even with that little bit that I've just done in between, it also now needs to be resharpened. But I knew that was going to be the case, so that's fine. Alright, I shall see you later in the day. I have now completed the gathering up of all the white chip, and also I have trimmed back this garden so that we can bore the holes and things. So that is all done. I've removed all the bits of concrete that were down here, the pavers, they're all over there. So basically this bit is now ready for the dingo with the post hole boring auger. The rest of today, what there is of it, I am going to tidy up this rubbishy wood, take the nails out of it and things, and also the two sections of fence that I removed from down here are tucked around the corner, still in one piece. So I will also remove all of those palings off the rails and de-nail them and put them in the stack down here into the tarpaulin. They all need to be, that fence all needs to be taken down anyway, so that we can get access down there to do retaining walls and things. So it's just another job I can do while I wait for other things to happen. That's it for today. See you later. Good morning. Guess what? It's another beautiful day. Look at that. Absolute cracker. I'm going to be removing more fence palings today. I have to admit that whilst the destruction phase, for want of a better term, or deconstruction phase might be a better term, of removing all the fences and, you know, all of those bits, it will be nice when I turn a corner and we move into construction phase. So I'm hoping that this Saturday, as scheduled, the dingo man will come and bore whole post holes, because then I can crack on with that fence and get that done. And that will be a good thing to have done. It will take me a while. I have organised to borrow a concrete mixer from a friend and build a friend, so that will make things a lot easier than trying to do it by hand. And so today I'm going to, well, more correctly this morning, I'm going to carry on removing the fence along here that needs to be gone so that we can get access down that side. Okay, I'm going to get after it. I have now removed all of the palings that I'm going to remove from this fence, and in so doing it became obvious that there were two different size nails. So if I hold them up, you can, oh yeah, you go, actually if I hold them on this side it'd be better. You can see there that they're different sizes. Now each batten in the first two sections seemed to have one of each. I do not remember when I built the fence why that is. I suspect it may be that I had a pocket full of nails and somebody else had a pocket full of nails and they were different, and I was going along putting two nails in each paling and getting them in the right place, and then they were coming along behind me and nailing it off. Now that's a guess on my part, but that's the only reason why I could think that there would be different nails in pretty much every paling. On the last two sections down here that I have just done, there were different nails again. They were what probably should have been used on all of it, but as part of the recurring theme I probably used what I had. And so the ones in this last section are these ones, which have the annular rings on them here, which means that, and they have a different head. They have a, rather than a flat head, they have this kind of head, and they're used in, well, they used to be used, everybody uses screws now as far as decking is concerned, pretty much. Well, so they were used mostly in decking because, you know, they're nice and small and they at the head end, and they don't pull out. I also used them on this fence because I didn't want the palings to come off, but what it meant on these last two sections was that all the nails stayed in the railings and just pulled through the aged palings. That's actually fine. It doesn't matter from the perspective of reusing the palings for the most part. A couple of times it pulled the back out of the board, but even that's not going to be a big issue as far as I'm concerned for reusing them. But it does mean that I have a lot less work involved in the denailing, because now I will just take these rails off the posts, lie them on the ground and pull all the nails out with the bar, which is much easier than having to hammer them through the paling and turn the paling, you know, blah-de-blah, as you've seen. So I will get on with this bit, and then that's all of this pretty much done that I can do at this point. I probably will take this post out because it's just in the dirt down here, whereas all of these other ones are captive in the concrete. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see how we go. It might be a time thing as much as anything. Rightio, I'll crack on. When I was pulling these nails out, it was actually a lot noisier than what you can hear it on the video, really, because the sound was echoing around the valley, and I thought, people are going to wonder what that sound is. Or more correctly, I have gone as far as I'm going, as far as removing fence at this point. I may end up going another couple of sections ultimately, but this is, I think, all I need to do at this point. Once we know what's happening with retaining walls and things, I may need to be able to get a bigger digger down here, in which case I will take out these last two sections that are on this side of the gate. But for now, what I was really aiming for today was to remove enough to give us good access down here. Incidentally, these are the tree dahlias that I mentioned in the previous video that are reaching for the sky from the driveway video. So now we can easily get down in here and cut some of this back so that we can see where we're going. The retaining wall needs to be kind of out here somewhere. So alrighty, bye for now. It's still a beautiful day, so I am going to go and have some 11s, as Paddington would say. Bye.